Black Panther leader Eldridge Cleaver said that LSD advocate Timothy Leary, who escaped from a California prison last month, has joined forces with him in Algeria.
I escaped with the help of the Weatherman Underground. 25 of their crack underground operators came to California for 6 weeks before my escape, and it was a very complicated operation. They not only helped us escape, they spirited us to several of their underground stations with great efficiency. We want to tell the people of the United States the Third World War has begun. Join us in the fight for freedom, because we are everywhere, and we're happy, and we're free, and we're going to make the world free.
This is the 5th communication from the Weatherman Underground. Rosemary and Tim are free and high. We are building a culture and a society that can resist genocide. It is a culture of total resistance to mind-controlling maniacs. A culture of high-energy sisters getting it on, of hippie acid smiles and communes and freedom to be the farthest out people we can be. Now we are everywhere, and next week, families and tribes will attack the enemy around the country. We are not just attacking targets. We are bringing a pitiful, helpless giant to its knees. Guard your planes, guard your colleges, guard your banks, guard your children, guard your doors.
Can you verify that the voice is that of Bernadine Dorn?
Yes, I'm her sister, and I'll verify that it's her voice.
What is your first name?
Jennifer.
How do you feel about what your sister is advocating?
I think it's right on. I think she's far out, and all Weathermen are far out.
Could you explain that?
There are brothers and sisters in the underground. They're forced to be outlaws by the way the society is run, and we think they're great.
We're in Sausalito at the houseboats. It's right on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. And we lived here when we first went underground.
They were really looking for us. I was on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. There were pictures everywhere and rewards everywhere and indictments falling from the sky.
It was much less built up than this. For us, it was perfect. There were dropouts from all walks of life. Gay people fleeing Iowa, people fleeing the Midwest and the draft. So there was a lot of outlaw culture.
Because of the way that this country is falling apart, more and more young people are living in communal situations. More and more young people are beginning to fight the government on various levels. And so there's a huge mass of people who are underground fugitives can move amongst and have protection from and be with.
The Weathermen were extremely bright. Many of them had access to fairly substantial amounts of money, which is the key to staying underground. We didn't get them, but we came close. It was frustrating when you wanted to catch these people as much as we did. You weren't going to catch these people in the standard FBI approach of surveilling the house the night before Grandma's 50th wedding anniversary. So the fugitive comes walking in with a gift. Bang, you got him. It wasn't going to work that way. The way that we decided to do was to basically go underground, and essentially the same way they did, and use some investigative techniques which were very tried and true in the National Security Division.
They did break into people's apartments and steal things, did try to plant divisive stories among people who were working in the peace movement and the anti-war movement. And had a whole strategy that included beating people up and dangling people out of windows. And, you know, it was not just light.
I know people who have liberal political tendencies would say it's terrible. People who don't would say that, you know, if you're not doing anything wrong, nothing wrong's going to happen, nothing bad's going to happen to you.
In the early 1970s, a group of radicals calling itself the Citizens Commission to Investigate the FBI broke into an FBI field office in Media, Pennsylvania, and made off with several boxes of files. The documents, which were leaked anonymously to the press, revealed the existence of COINTELPRO, a secret FBI program to destroy a wide range of groups that opposed the U.S. government. The Black Panthers, the anti-war movement, even Martin Luther King. By the early 1970s, COINTELPRO had been largely effective.
The movement began to devour itself. There was the absence of all the things that made the movement so powerful. Absence of trust, absence of love, absence of a sense of humor, absence of commitment, absence of this communal, we're all in this together. All that stuff seemed to have been blown apart.
In the early 70s, the psychic stress, the psychic upheaval was so intense, and the loss of ideological underpinnings and clarity about the world is so severe that many people who had come out of the New Left were in retreat.
I remember sitting on a park bench reading the newspaper, and I thought to myself, here I am sitting on a park bench doing absolutely nothing when I had been the chairman of the largest national anti-war organization in the United student anti-war organization in the United States. I thought to myself, what a waste, what am I doing here?
I thought we were being reduced to a group that just put a bomb here and then a few months later put a bomb here and then put a bomb there. That seemed to me to be sort of played out. It was how much further could we go with that? And we were increasingly being thought of sort of an isolated cult. I was feeling lonely and alienated, and I missed my girlfriend, and I just wasn't having a very good time. And the combination of the two, one day I just walked out.
During the mid-1970s, as the Black movement and the anti-war movement faded, the left branched off into a wide range of organizations and causes.
I don't remember much interest among people I knew in what the Weathermen were doing. I was around a lot of students, and there was a lot of interest in the women's movement. I mean, that had a presence, and there was certainly a lot of opposition to the war. But I don't remember anybody ever talking about the Weathermen. By the mid-70s, the Weather Underground was a kind of reverberation in time, a kind of golden oldie.
We're 5 people from the Weather Underground organization. We're in a house. You could call it a safe house. We're here with a group of filmmakers, and together we're going to make a film.
Here we are. The windows are boarded up. It's very awkward, and we are willing to take the risk of doing this because it seemed like we could speak to a lot of people, and we do want to do that.
How many people are in your organization?
Well, we're a very small organization relative to the task to be done, and we can't discuss exactly the size. We're small, but we don't feel weak. We want to make a revolution. We think there has to be a revolution.
From the underground, that radical left-wing group, the Weathermen, has claimed responsibility for yesterday's dynamiting of a statue of a Chicago policeman. The group promises more attacks on the establishment around the entire country starting next week. The medium for this message was a tape recording, reputedly by the fugitive Weatherman leader, Bernadine Dorn. It came by mail this morning to New York.
The group said that it planted the bomb to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the military overthrow of the Allende government in Chile.
There are 20 to 30 people in the group. We know who they are. There are federal warrants out on, I believe, 12 of them.
A dynamite explosion last night heavily damaged one floor of the Gulf Oil Corporation's Pittsburgh headquarters. No one was hurt. A radical group called the Weather Underground said it set the blast in retaliation for Gulf's policies in Portuguese Angola in Africa.
We felt that more and more people would be attracted to the revolutionary violence of the Weather Underground and of the other groups. What I began to discover was that Americans are taught again and again from a very early age that the only violence, that all violence which is not sanctioned by the government is either criminal or mentally ill. And so our violence was categorized as that, criminal and mentally ill. Violence didn't work.
And now it's winter. To feel like winter in America. Yeah, it's a time when all of the healers, brothers who could help us done been killed. They put them in jails. Yeah, people know it's something wrong. Everybody ought to know winter.
Good evening. A quarter century of American involvement in South Vietnam is over.
These are tonight's headlines. South Vietnam surrenders and the communists occupy Saigon. We have dramatic film of the evacuation of Americans and Vietnamese from Saigon.
The war in Vietnam was the most visible and the most palpable and the most dramatic expression of what we were opposed to. And so our unity was based on throwing our bodies into combat against the war in Vietnam. When the war in Vietnam ended, all of that unity began to unravel.
A lot of us, with the end of the war in '75, began to come up with the idea that we should come up, that it was pointless to stay underground.
It wasn't going to be as dramatic after the Vietnam War ended in '75, and there were increasing struggles about what was wrong with our direction, and I think that happened. The whole left was challenged at the end of the Vietnam War.
The end happened because most all leftist political organizations, when they reached the point of irrelevancy,